The Twilight Harbor's deception. In the hidden harbor of Twilight Cove, where the line between reality and illusion blurred like the fading sunlight on the horizon, Hudson Lewis found himself questioning everything he thought he knew. The young man of 20 years, with his nurturing and protective nature, had always been drawn to the mysterious coastline that seemed to exist in a perpetual state of dusk. Luna Young, 2 years his senior and as brave as they come, stood beside him on the weathered dock. Her eyes, filled with a mixture of excitement and trepidation, scanned the mist-shrouded waters before them. The air crackled with an otherworldly energy, hinting at the dimensional portals that were said to open and close with the ebb and flow of the tides. "Are you sure about this, Hudson?" Luna whispered, her voice barely audible over the lapping waves. "Once we step through, there's no turning back." Hudson nodded, his resolve strengthening. "We have to do this, Luna, for the revolution, for our future. The promised land awaits us on the other side." As they prepared to embark on their perilous journey, neither of them could have foreseen the web of deceit and supernatural forces that would soon ensnare them. The legendary dusk that perpetually bathed Twilight Cove in its ethereal glow seemed to pulse with anticipation, as if aware of the momentous events about to unfold. Their quest had begun months ago, when whispers of a world beyond their own started circulating among the revolutionaries. A world free from the oppressive regime that had held their reality in an iron grip for generations. Hudson and Luna, drawn together by their shared desire for justice and freedom, had volunteered to be the first to seek out this fabled realm. What they didn't know was that their every move was being watched by eyes that gleamed with an unnatural obsession. Lurking in the shadows of Twilight Cove was a figure known only as the Stalker, a being whose very existence seemed to defy the laws of nature. As Hudson and Luna made their way along the misty docks, a flicker of movement caught their attention. A hooded figure emerged from behind a stack of crates, their face obscured by the dim light. "Psst, over here," the figure hissed, beckoning them closer. Luna's hand instinctively went to the hilt of her concealed weapon, but Hudson placed a calming hand on her arm. "Wait," he murmured. "I think I know who this is." The figure pushed back their hood, revealing a young face framed by a mess of wiry hair and illuminated by the glow of a handheld device. "Name's Pixel," they said, grinning. "Heard you two were looking for a way through the portals. I'm your hacker extraordinaire at your service." Luna eyed Pixel suspiciously. "How do we know we can trust you?" Pixel's grin widened. "Because, my friend, I'm your ticket to breaking free from this false reality. Plus, I've got the codes to bypass the dimensional firewalls. You need me." Hudson and Luna exchanged glances, silently weighing their options. Finally, Hudson nodded. "All right, Pixel, show us what you've got." As Pixel led them through a labyrinth of narrow alleys and hidden passages, the trio remained unaware of the dark figure trailing them, always just out of sight. The stalker's eyes gleamed with a mixture of madness and desire, fixated on Luna's every move. The group arrived at what appeared to be an abandoned warehouse. Pixel approached a nondescript wall and began tapping away at their device. Suddenly, the air before them shimmered and warped, revealing a swirling vortex of colors and light. "Ladies and gentlemen, your portal awaits," Pixel announced with a flourish. Hudson took a deep breath, steeling himself for what lay ahead. "Remember why we're doing this," he said, as much to himself as to Luna. "For justice, for freedom, for hope." Luna squeezed his hand reassuringly. "Together, Hudson, we'll face whatever's on the other side together." With Pixel in tow, Hudson and Luna stepped through the portal, the world around them dissolving into a kaleidoscope of impossible geometries and mind-bending vistas. When reality reasserted itself, they found themselves in a realm that defied description, a place where the concepts of heaven and hell seemed to coexist in a delicate, terrifying balance. As they struggled to orient themselves in this new world, a voice echoed through their minds, smooth as silk and cold as ice. "Welcome, seekers of the promised land, I've been expecting you." Before them materialized a figure of otherworldly beauty and terrible power, the self-proclaimed ruler of this realm. "I am Azrael," the being announced, "and you have just walked into my trap." Confusion and fear gripped Hudson and Luna as they realized the gravity of their situation. Pixel, however, seemed unfazed, a knowing smirk playing across their features. "You see," Azrael continued, "your revolution, your quest for freedom, it's all been orchestrated. A carefully constructed illusion to bring the most courageous, the most determined souls to me. And you, my dears, are the cream of the crop." Luna's eyes blazed with defiance. We won't be pawns in your game, Azrael. Whatever you're planning will stop you. Azrael's laughter echoed around them, a sound that sent chills down their spines. Oh, but you already are pawns, and one of you has been playing for my side all along. A heavy silence fell over the group as the implications of Azrael's words sank in. Hudson's mind raced, trying to process this new information. Could Luna be the spy? Or was it Pixel, this mysterious hacker who had appeared out of nowhere to help them? As if reading his thoughts, Azrael's gaze settled on Hudson. Why don't you tell them, Hudson? Tell them about the role you've been playing all this time. Luna turned to Hudson, her eyes wide with disbelief. Hudson, what is he talking about? The weight of his deception crashed down upon Hudson, threatening to crush him. I didn't know, he stammered. I swear, Luna, I didn't know. Azrael's voice dripped with false sympathy. Poor, naive Hudson. Did you really think those dreams, those visions of a better world were your own? I planted them, nurtured them, watched as you spread them to others like a virus. You've been my unwitting agent all along. The revelation hit Luna like a physical blow. She stumbled backward away from Hudson, her expression a mixture of betrayal and anguish. All this time, everything we fought for, it was all a lie. Hudson reached out to her, his heart breaking. Luna, please, I never meant to. But Luna cut him off, her voice cold. Save it, Hudson, I trusted you, we all did. Pixel, who had remained silent throughout the exchange, finally spoke up. Well, this is all very dramatic, but I think you're forgetting one thing, Azrael. You may have manipulated Hudson, but you didn't account for me. With lightning speed, Pixel produced a device from their pocket and activated it. The air around them began to shimmer and distort once more. Run, Pixel shouted, grabbing both Hudson and Luna and pulling them toward the newly forming portal. As they tumbled through the dimensional rift, Azrael's enraged howl followed them, promising retribution. They landed hard on the familiar docks of Twilight Cove, the perpetual dusk a welcome sight after the chaos they had just escaped. But their relief was short-lived. As they struggled to their feet, they found themselves surrounded by a group of hooded figures, led by none other than the stalker who had been obsessively following them. Did you really think you could escape so easily? The stalker hissed, his eyes fixed on Luna. The game has only just begun. Hudson, still reeling from the revelation of his unwitting betrayal, stepped protectively in front of Luna. Stay back, he warned, his voice low and dangerous. I won't let you harm her. The stalker laughed, a sound that sent shivers down their spines. Harm her? Oh, you misunderstand. I'm here to save her from you, Hudson Lewis, the great deceiver. Luna, her mind still whirling from everything that had transpired, found her voice. I don't need saving, she spat, especially not from someone like you. Pixel, ever the wild card, had been furiously working on their device. Guys, they interrupted, I hate to break up this lovely reunion, but we've got bigger problems. The dimensional barriers are collapsing, Azrael's coming through. As if on cue, the air around them began to warp and twist, reality itself seeming to tear at the seams. Through the growing rifts, they could see glimpses of the nightmarish realm they had just escaped, with Azrael's terrifying visage drawing ever closer. We need to close the portals, Hudson shouted over the growing chaos. Pixel, can you do it? Pixel shook their head, frustration evident on their face. Not from here. We need to get to the source, the heart of Twilight Cove. The stalker, sensing the gravity of the situation, made a decision. I know where it is. Follow me if you want to live. With no other choice, the unlikely group raced through the mist-shrouded streets of Twilight Cove, the fabric of reality unraveling around them. Citizens ran in panic as impossible creatures began to slip through the widening rifts, their otherworldly cries filling the air. They arrived at an ancient lighthouse, its beam cutting through the perpetual dusk with an unnatural intensity. In there, the stalker pointed, the heart of Twilight Cove lies at its core. As they ascended the winding stairs of the lighthouse, Hudson's mind raced. He knew he had to find a way to make things right, to prove to Luna and everyone else that he was more than Azrael's unwitting pawn. At the top of the lighthouse, they found a pulsing crystal, its light synchronized with the dimensional rifts tearing apart their world. Pixel immediately set to work, their fingers flying over their device as they attempted to stabilize the portals. It's not enough, Pixel grunted, sweat beading on their brow. The system's rejecting my commands, we need more power. Luna, her courage rising to the fore, stepped forward. What if we channeled the energy of the portals themselves, use Azrael's own power against him? The stalker nodded approvingly. It could work, but it would require someone to act as a conduit. The strain could be fatal. Before anyone could react, Hudson stepped up to the crystal. "I'll do it," he said, his voice firm with resolve. "This is my chance to make things right." Luna grabbed his arm, her earlier anger forgotten in the face of his sacrifice. "Hudson, no, there has to be another way." He turned to her, his eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and determination. "There isn't, Luna. This is my redemption. For you, for everyone I unknowingly betrayed. Just remember me as I truly was, not as Azrael's puppet." With that, Hudson placed his hands on the crystal. Energy surged through him, his body arching in pain as he became the focal point between dimensions. Pixel worked feverishly, using Hudson's connection to rewrite the very laws of reality around Twilight Cove. As the others watched in awe and horror, the rifts began to close, Azrael's enraged howls fading into nothingness. The creatures that had slipped through were pulled back, reality knitting itself back together. In the final moments, as the last portal sealed, Hudson turned to Luna. "I'm sorry," he whispered, "and I love you." Then, in a blinding flash of light, he was gone. The lighthouse fell silent, the crystal now dark and inert. Luna fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face as the enormity of Hudson's sacrifice hit her. The stalker, his obsession fading in the face of Hudson's heroism, placed a comforting hand on Luna's shoulder. "He saved us all," he said softly. "He proved that even those deceived can choose their own path in the end." Pixel, their usual bravado subdued, nodded in agreement. "The dimensional barriers are stable now. Twilight Cove is safe thanks to him." As the first rays of true sunlight in generations began to pierce the perpetual dusk of Twilight Cove, Luna stood, wiping away her tears. She knew that the road ahead would be difficult, rebuilding their world, establishing true freedom, and living with the memory of Hudson's sacrifice. But as she looked out over the awakening city, Luna felt a spark of hope ignite within her. Hudson had shown them that redemption was possible, that one could break free from false beliefs and manipulations. His final act had not only saved their world, but it also ensured that his legacy would be one of heroism and self-sacrifice. "Come on," Luna said to Pixel and the stalker, her voice strong despite her grief. "We have work to do, a revolution to finish, a world to rebuild, for Hudson." As they descended the lighthouse, stepping out into the new dawn, Luna silently vowed to honor Hudson's memory by creating the just and free world they had both dreamed of. She would be the mentor to future generations, teaching them the value of questioning reality, the power of hope in darkness, and the strength found in redemption. The legend of Hudson Lewis and the Twilight Harbor's deception would be told for generations to come, a tale of courage, sacrifice, and the indomitable human spirit. And though the dimensional portals were closed, the greatest journey, that of rebuilding their world and their lives, was just beginning.